years back, one of our members said something about he had a daughter. She was getting too big to play with the swing set, and a big wooden jungle gym in the
Right.
backyard. So he says, I just hate to cut it apart. I spent so much money on it. I says, well, I'll take it. So we brought a bunch of guys. We literally pulled it up out of the ground, put it across my truck, chained it down. We went down Woodward Avenue about 12 foot wide, and we brought it to the post and put it up. And a couple of guys were, what would an American Legion post need the swing set for? And I says, you got kids, you got younger guys. If you don't get the younger guys here and have something for them to do, what's the sense? You just die on the vine.
I think that's a big problem with a lot of VFW posts and American Legion posts.
Exactly.
That the old members are dying off, and they're not really doing enough to recruit the younger members, because I think they think of the VFW American League Post as just, I don't know, they don't really.
Yeah, they think of it as an old place where a bunch of guys sit around smoking,
have a beer,
sit around smoking a cigar, drinking a Schlitz. Well, that's the way it was when I was a kid.
Exactly.
But things have changed. I'm a lifetime member of the VFW and the American Legion, and there's several in our area, and they're all good outfits, and they're all good units. And it's only what the members put into it.
Without attracting the younger members, life expectancy of that post isn't long.
No.
You just said earlier.
It's going to wither on the vine.
Exactly, and that a lot of our members are older, retiring, moving to Florida.
Right.
Which is now bringing down the number of members in that post to where it's,
Yeah, a couple of years ago, we lost to attrition, unfortunately through death. And people moving out of state, we lost probably 60 members in 1 year.
That's a hit.
So I gotta go out and chase 60 young guys or 60 guys who weren't involved before, and we're constantly preaching recruitment, because if we don't grow,
what are
we're
you
shrinking.
doing to recruit them though?
Well, we've had several things. Like this year on Veterans Day, we did a thing out at a local farm, K9s farm out in Will County. We had a big thing out there, a Veterans Day program. All the food was free. We had entertainment. And we had stuff for the kids to do out there. A local farmer donated all the facilities and everything. He did an awesome job, and Walt's always been a great support of the American Legion and his family. So we had like this big thing, and the county sheriff come out. They used the color guard. They shot the 21 gun salute for us, and we had the high school kids out helping out and volunteering. So we try and get everybody pulled in and involved to where they say, hey, my grandpa's a veteran. But why isn't he a member of the American Legion? And we get one-on-one and we talk to him and say, hey, the American Legion's done so much for the veterans in this country, and the VFW too. I'm a member of that too. But I'm partial to the American Legion because I'm there every day, and I just try and, if we don't expand, we're going to fall.
Exactly.
And it's getting harder and harder, because the number one thing younger guys tell me now is, well, I see him on a job or I see him on the street and I see him with an Army or Marine Corps hat on, and I say, hey, why don't you sign up for the Legion? And the guy says, well, I don't drink. I said, well, it's just not a tavern. Even though we do have a nice club room and we have a fish fry.
The bar's wonderful. It's nice.
We got 3 bars and we got a fish fry, and we've got all that at the banquet hall. But our main concentration is the veterans and the active duty GIs.
So you really understand the importance of recruitment and getting new members
for
the longevity of the post.
Right.
Yeah,
we've been here December 18th last year. We turned 100 years, and I hope to God you're here for 200 years. Because the men before me, men and women who ran the post before me, did a great job. And it's always been a great organization. I'm proud to be a member of it.
I'm proud to be a member of that post as well. Let me ask a question. For veterans who are not either involved with the American Legion or the VFW, what would, before I even say that, can an active military
Yes,
join
matter of fact, last week I had a young guy join. He's active duty in the Navy still.
Okay.
And he signed up
So
with
they could
us.
still join just
Yes,
like
they can.
a veteran could?
Usually any of our boys in our area that we know about that join, if they go active duty in the military, usually a lot of times we've had welcome home parties for them, or going overseas parties, or welcome home from when they come back from overseas. And what I do is the post, we find funds available for it, and we pay their dues for the first 4 years they're in.
Oh, that's awesome.
So while a kid is on active duty his first time, he's got that Legion card in his pocket.
Right.
So like you were in a service, I was in a service, you go on leave, you blow a tire and, God forbid, Macon, Georgia. It happened to me. some old dude came down the road, and says, "Hey, you boys need a hand? If you're an American Legion member, you can go to any Legion post. And
Right, and
they
get
won't
help.
steer you wrong and get help.
Exactly.
Or you're out of town or someplace you're looking for something, at least it's like the friends.
What does it take for a veteran right now, if there's a veteran listening who is interested in joining a post, whether it's a VFW or an American Legion, what's the procedure for that? What do they have to
Well,
do?
what just happened was really important. We just had a change in the bylaws for the American Legion. It used to be that you had to be in during active war, like World War II, Vietnam, Korea. The numbers on Vietnam kept jumping around because they admitted more and more earlier involvement. And so that was kind of a mess for a while. But then we had these donut hole veterans, guys that got in after Korea was over and before Vietnam started, or before they claimed it
Right.
started. So we had a bunch of donut hole veterans, and it really hurts a guy's feelings. You're like, you're not good enough to be part of our club.
Right.
And a lot of us were always against that. We always said if you served honorably and you had an honorable discharge, you should be eligible for membership. Well, last year sometime President Trump signed a thing over in the act of Congress, and they said now if you are eligible, you're honorably discharged veteran from Pearl Harbor Day till today. The war on terrorism's still going on. It's expanded for every honorable discharged veteran.
As it should be.
As we always wanted it to
Yeah,
be,
as
but
it should be.
it was an act of Congress that started our unit, and we had to go by their rules.
And that's changed since
Right.
recently, right?
Right. That just changed last year. It changed with the war on terrorism. The dates changed because they realized, like the bombing of the USS Cole and then the taking of the embassy in Lebanon. It just the dates kept changing.
Right.
And finally, he says, honestly, should be any honorably discharged veteran. So if you have an honorable discharge, you're more than welcome to join the American Legion.
Do you see a lot of discrepancies between post 9/11 and pre 9/11?
As far as what
As far as benefits, as
the
far as
benefits, yeah. The guys. Everybody knows the guys coming home from Vietnam got hosed, and what happened was they had to fight for all that. Everything they had to fight, and after 9/11, it's like people just want to do the right thing, and they have been doing the right
I
thing.
think we learned a lot from the way we treated the Vietnam veteran era.
You gave a whole generation a sore taste in their mouth,
Right.
And like even with the Agent Orange, it was the American Legion that fought so hard, tooth and nail, to get that declared a thing. And now even they're now admitting at different points where kids that were born after Vietnam, after their dads came home, there's issues with some of them
Exactly.
children, and they should seek out help from the VA.
So that's one of the bigger changes that have been made. Now, you also have an auxiliary component of the
Oh, we got three of
American
them.
Legion. Tell us a little bit about how that works.
Well, what we have the Ladies Auxiliary, which was founded almost immediately after the beginning of the American Legion, and a Ladies Auxiliary is to aid, the members and provide comfort to the warriors is what it's in their motto. And they do a fantastic job since the beginning of time. They would have ladies that would go out, and we still actively have women in our post that go out on Tuesdays, and they bring cards to the guys in the nursing homes.
Right.
Or they visit the VA healthcare centers and stuff where the guys are infirmed. And they'll go around with cards, just let the guys know, hey, you're not forgotten.
Right.
We appreciate what you did for country, and if you need anything. They sat around for years, and they used to knit. They used to have a crochet club. They crocheted lap blankets for the vets. So they'd find them out at Mantino or at Heinz or Jesse Brown, and they would go in there and they'd give them lap blankets. So if they're wheelchair bound or whatever,
Sure.
just something nice to say, hey,
Right.
we appreciate you.
Like when K9, when we go to a school to talk to young kids about service dogs or veterans,
Right.
before I leave, I always tell them one of the most important things you can do when you see a veteran and he's wearing a veteran's hat or you acknowledge that he's a veteran is just go up to him and shake his hand and
Right.
thank him for his service. That doesn't cost anything.
No.
And it's just a simple little gesture that we're making to them to let them know that we appreciate what their sacrifices were.
Right. I try to all the time.
I know.
I've told my scouts and I've told my kids, it doesn't cost you anything to say thank you.
I was with a friend of mine and we were out somewhere and how people come up and thank you for your service and stuff like that. Well, you always say, well, yeah, thank you very much stuff. The best reply I ever heard from a veteran was when she said that, he looked her dead in the eye and he said, "You were worth it."
Really, I
And
never
I
heard
thought, what a great way to say thank you back.
that. Oh, that's awesome.
You were worth it.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean?
cool.
And I just thought that was the best comeback that a veteran can say, because basically that's what it was all about. He went there, did what he had to do, and it was for everyone. You know,
Oh, that's a great
that was
response.
that was a
That is.
that
That's
was a
pretty
great response. Michael, what are some of the okay? So getting back to a veteran who wants to enroll in the program, can they go to a website? Do they have to contact you? Do they need to go into the
Oh,
post?
no, there's several ways. The easiest way to join, obviously, is to come to the post, and the paperwork's direct. And we can give you the paperwork, we can verify your 214. And the thing is, we don't need a copy, don't make a copy. We get 2 officers to verify it, and we hand it right back to the veteran. Or if you're joining an auxiliary unit, if it's your father's or brother's paperwork, we give it right back. Because there's private information that, in the old days, they used to keep a copy of everybody's in the filing cabinet. And obviously that's a problem when you have a guy's social security number, date of
Right.
birth, all that.
All that.
So,
lot of personal
with the
information
the HEPA
there.
laws and everything came through. But, yeah, if they come in like, well, you mentioned our auxiliary units. We also have the ladies auxiliary. Then we have the Sons of the American Legion. Now, if your father or your grandfather was in the service, you can join under them also.
Okay, so you could still be a member if you weren't active.
If you weren't active in the service and you're
Right.
a male. And now also, males can join the ladies auxiliary. Well, it's called the Legion Auxiliary now. They can join if they're a spouse and or a significant other. And the other thing, other component would be the American Legion Riders.
Yeah, tell me about that, and tell our audience about that, because you know I'm an avid motorcycle rider, and
Right.
it's something that I think a lot
I
of people
believe
do.
I believe our unit alone, our ALR is probably over 45 members. It's a pretty good sized unit.
It's a great size. Yeah.
And the guys and the women that run it, it's male and female. If you're an auxiliary member, Sons of Legion, or a veteran yourself, a Legion member, you can join. And you just pay a small amount of extra dues to join that part of the unit. And they do bike runs.
A lot of charity stuff.
It's all charity stuff.
Right.
Everything we do is for charity.
Right.
And I'll get to that in a minute about money, because there's a lot of misconceptions. People don't understand what we actually do. Now, our Legion Riders, they run raffles, they run outings, Bratfest. They'll bring in a live band and just have a big charity thing. And
they raise money
and they raise money for
charities.
Legion charities. Like the number one advocate is, their big advocacy is the Legacy, the Commander's Legacy Foundation. Legion Legacy, yeah, I'm sorry, I got it. So many programs. But the Legacy one is if your mom or dad was in, service part of 9/11, they give scholarships to children of veterans that
That's
had
awesome.
problems. Or if
Really?
your mom and dad weren't, unfortunately didn't make it, it's like, I believe there's 100% coverage on college. It's just to educate the children. And that's 99% of what the whole American Legion mission is to take care of the GI, and if the GI's gone, we got to take care of their family.
Right.
And that's what we do. And the Sons of the Legion's involved with a bunch of stuff with that, as well as the ladies and us. And with our charities, we support, the 2 different things we do is our post runs, we obviously have a bar, when we call it a club room. It's private for the members only. And then we have our hall rentals and we have our catering business. That money sustains the post. But when you see one of our members out with their hat on or shirt on that says Legion and they got poppies, when they collect that poppy money, 100% every penny of that goes to veterans charities. None of that stays in our post. It
awesome.
goes into a separate bank account. And just to mention a few, as you know, K9s for Vets. We're a big supporter of K9s for Vets.
Thank you very much.
And it's a great organization,
Thank
Mike.
you.
And hey, you do a great job.
Thank you.
But the Legion Riders, they donate to the Legacy Foundation. We also do. We have homes for the troops. We build we built a nice house out in Manhattan for a young family where, one of our guys, had a tough time overseas. And the house was built from the ground up, specially adapted for his disabilities only.
That's
it wasn't
amazing.
rehab.
That's
it was
really
built out of the dirt.
Amazing.
Ground.
It is.
So we got a lot of good charities, but that poppy money goes for Navy relief.
So it doesn't
Army
go
relief.
to, that poppy money doesn't come to like each individual post.
No, that money from our post goes into a bigger hopper, and our executive board and our membership and our poppy committee, our poppy committee does an outstanding job, and they're very diligent, and we decide what charities. Like a couple of years ago, Louisiana, or was it Texas? Texas got a beating on that flooding. And a lot of posts down there had tough
Right.
times. And then we donated some money down there to help out those folks. And then we had out in Nebraska, when they got beat up on the flood and their cows were drowning. You know, everybody was donating the hay from the farmers. Well, we says, well, about the people, you know, I mean, some of the people, they lost a lot of
Sure.
their entire home.
Right.
So we had sent, and we found some GIs or former GIs that were out there and needed help, and we sent the check right out there to them, and we've gotten some tremendous thank you letters.
You do, the Legionnaires, they also do not only parades, but they do memorials, they do a veteran funeral.
Right. A lot of times, unfortunately, when I get a phone call or my chaplain gets a phone call, that one of our members or even a local, area veteran who wasn't a member, it doesn't matter if he was a GI or her. I'm sorry, I keep saying him. But even if a male or female had passed, and if the family asks for military service and the Army can't provide it, we'll do it ourselves. We do the 21 gun salute, the bugle salute, and our
So
halls.
you're there to help honor
memorials.
the family with the loss
Right.
of a
Right, we do. Unfortunately, we do quite a few of them a year.
too many.
And it's sad to see people go, but it's the cycle of life, and it's something. And I always told my members, my executive board, we'll show up. I just make a phone call, and everybody shows up.
There is a lot of support.
It is. It's all the members.
Exactly.
It's the
And
members.
it's such a close-knit group.
Right.
That, you just don't find everywhere.
No.
It really is. It's a special, veterans are a special breed of people.
Yeah.
They really are. They just, especially like the American Legion Post, you take care of your own.
Right.
Because if you don't, who knows who's going to step up to the plate.
Right. I think it comes from a background of just being in the service itself, because no matter you come from the South Side or you come from big
Right.
money, wherever you come from in life, at one time or another in the service, you've been freezing cold, you've been starving, and just wish you had something to drink. And you know what it's like to want.
I know.
So, you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
you go through that, it's tough.
Yeah, it's I was reading something that the American Legion was founded in 1918. Is that
Right, they started in 1990.
and it's the largest, I'm reading it here, it's the largest veterans organization in the United States with over 3 million members.
Right, it is. We have...
That's huge.
Yeah. It started out back then, actually, Alvin York, you remember that movie, Sergeant York? He was one of the founding members of it. And the whole principle was they did not want the GIs coming home and being tossed on their parents' porch all crippled up.
Right.
You know, like guys come home from the Civil War missing an arm or a leg.
Yeah.
And in the farm days, what do you do with a son that, he can't ride a horse or he can't feed himself?
Can't
So
plow.
right, he's technically a burden on the family. And they wanted to make sure that there was something, device to take care of it. So the American Legion formed, and they started for the GI Bill of Rights. Well, that was in World War II, but in the first, they started, I guess, with the bonus army. I might be a little mixed up on my dates, but they actually invented the VA healthcare system. It was called the Veterans War Act or something in the beginning. But the American Legion basically is what made the VA healthcare system.
Well, it's just an amazing group of people that stand together, that are united for the same cause and stuff like that. And, it's just an amazing group of people that do what they do for our veterans. It really is. And our post, I have to say, it's really a tight group, and you guys really do reach out.
Thank you.
And, now you've been a commander at our post for, you said 20 years?
Yeah, but it's about around 9/11.
About 9/11, and before that you served on the county board as well?
No, since I was a commander,
Oh.
I got elected to the county board.
Okay.
Will County had 18 posts at the time, and I was asked if I would, run the county board, and we would get together like once a month, and all the posts, we try and coordinate our efforts, like we used to have a county fair we used to get involved with, which fell by the wayside. But we tried to organize and coordinate all our efforts to where we were working with one another, not just, separately working. We tried to get a better impact. And a lot of things the county did, we put all our votes, we passed a resolution to get the Joliet, the old Silver Cross building. We petitioned Congress. We went up through the chairs, through American Legion. We got to Congress and we asked them, to make a VA healthcare system out there in Joliet. Because
That's awesome.
At the time I did a survey, it was right after the census, and I did a thing, there was like 225,000 veterans living in the collar counties. And I says, why do these 225,000 veterans have to all go to Hines
Right.
with all the people from Cook County and everywhere else? And it was, as you know, Hines was just so overloaded.
Still is.
And it still is. And I have a feeling it's never going to change, but we
No,
can help
that's
it.
just a fact of life with
Right.
with Heinz. That's never going to get any better. Mike, I'm sorry. If there was anything you could say to a veteran right now who may be watching, who's thinking about joining either the American Legion or the VFW, what would you tell them? What would you say to them to convince them that
Well,
it's something that they should really do?
Simple facts are that if not to yourself, to fellow veterans, we owe it to join. Membership makes numbers, and things wouldn't get done if it weren't for the American Legion. If we had 2 members, nobody'd care, but we have 2 million members, and politicians pay attention when we make phone calls.
Yeah, it's an amazing thing, again, like I said. So, if you're interested in joining the American Legion Lockport Post 18,
Right.
tell them what they should do, Mike.
You should either stop on by one on 151st and Archer, or you could call my cell phone at 708-516-1469. If I'm not there, anybody could give you an application and we'll get you signed in. We'd be glad to have anybody. Male, female, old, young, 18 to 80. We take them all.
And if you've missed any of that, you could turn around and you can call K9 for Veterans, and we'll be more than happy to put you in touch with the Post 18. Believe me, it's a great post, and I'm proud to be a member of it.
Mr. Tellerino, on behalf of the American Legion Post 18, the officers and the members,
Wow.
we wanted to give you that personally, thanking you for all the work you do with veterans and the
Oh.
K9s.
That's amazing.
Kind of a surprise. I didn't mean to ambush you with
Yeah,
it. but
no, it's absolutely beautiful.
We're
I wonder
100 years old.
Share
That's
that
our.
up to the audience. Well, I don't even know what to say.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize how much time had gone by.
Thank you so much, Mike, for being here. Again, Mike Meyers, he's the post commander, 18, and Lockport. Give him a call. He'd be more than happy to tell you what to do. Michael, thank
Thanks,
you
sir.
for being my guest.
You're a great man. Thank you, sir.